Hello, my name is Angela Dickerson, and I'm in the Kennesaw State University Instructional Technology Specialist Degree Program, and I'm going to present a data overview for Blackshear Elementary School in English Language Arts and Reading for third grade students. The purpose of this presentation is to look over the past 4 years of student enrollment, to look at the past 4 years of select student demographic data, to look at the third grade ELA end of grade assessment data and make comparisons, to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses, and to develop steps to plan for future improvement. The questions for consideration of this data overview are: how are third graders at Blackshear Elementary School scoring in comparison to district and state ELA test scores? What are the areas of strengths for BES third graders? In what areas do the third graders need improvement? How does the curriculum play a part in the ELA results? And what can teachers do to implement positive changes in ELA? At first, I want to look at the district enrollment. And if you notice, there are 3 elementary schools in Pierce County. Blackshear Elementary has almost double the number of students than the other 2, than MES and PES. The enrollment from 2016 all the way down to the 2012 school year has stayed about the same, just around 800 or a little over. If we look at student enrollment by ethnicity, then we can see that the majority of the students that attend Blackshear Elementary School are white. About 75% is a good percentage that's been for the past 4 years. About 14 to 15% of the enrollment here is black, 7% is Hispanic, and then 5% make up the remainder of the students. As far as students with disabilities at Blackshear Elementary School, there are usually, it ranges between 13 to 15%. If you look from 2012 up until the 2015-16 school year, the numbers may peak a little, but all in all, it ranges between 13 to 15% of the students that attend the school have disabilities. As far as the socioeconomic status, there is a big difference here when you compare Blackshear Elementary School to the other 2 elementary schools. If you notice, if you look at the Blackshear Elementary comparison of economically disadvantaged to not disadvantaged, the disadvantaged almost doubles the students who are not economically disadvantaged. If you look at MES and PES, you can see that there's not as much of a gap there, that it's more equal. And so that's one of the things that's difficult at Blackshear Elementary, is having such a gap in that and having so many students at the school who are economically disadvantaged. Now if we look at the BES milestone and CRCT scores, and we're going to compare the scores at Blackshear to the state and to the district scores. In 2015-2016, Blackshear Elementary was actually had a lower percent of students that showed at the beginning stages when compared to the state, but it was a little bit higher than the district average. The students who were proficient, Blackshear Elementary is the same. The students scored higher in third grade ELA. The third grade ELA scored higher than the state average but lower than the district, and also right there equal with the state average on distinguished, and actually a little bit higher than the district level in distinguished when you look at the most current year. If you go and look back at all 4 years, you can see that Blackshear Elementary School has, as far as in the beginning stages, they have beat the state percentage all 4 years, and they have fallen, they're a little bit higher with the number of students who scored in the beginning stages when compared in the district. When looking at subgroups and breaking down the scores based on subgroups, there was something that was very interesting that came up in the 2015-16 year. Blackshear Elementary did not have any black students who scored in the distinguished learner category. Okay, we had some white students that did. In the district, we did have several of the black and white students who met the proficient learner, but again in the district, no distinguished black learners. If you look at the state, there were some that did score distinguished in the state, but it's still a smaller number. When looking at the comparison on exceeds, meets, or does not meet, we had, when compared to the state, we had more black students on the state level exceed at Blackshear, and as far as the white students with the district, we were a little bit lower on the district and in the state. Also, if you look on does not meet, Blackshear Elementary had more students who did not meet with the state compared to the state level, but not to the district. The district actually had more students who did not meet than Blackshear Elementary. When looking at the 2012 and 13 scores, you will see that Blackshear Elementary, on the meets category, that our black students were about equal with the district score and was a little bit better than the state score. When looking at exceeds, with the black students, we had a few less than the district and less, there's the black, and it was about equal with the state. When you look at white students, when compared to the district, we have fewer white students exceed and fewer white students exceed when compared to the state level. The weaknesses, when you look at all this data and lay it out and compare it and look for weaknesses, the points of weakness that really stood out to me was that the achievement gap between white student scores and black student scores is quite large in Blackshear Elementary. The percentage of third graders who are not proficient in ELA at Blackshear Elementary is higher than that of the Pierce County District all 4 years. The district scores were better than the BES scores. And I'd already mentioned that we did not have any black students who were scoring in the distinguished learner category. The strengths from looking at all this data is that the percentage of Blackshear Elementary third graders who score proficient remains higher than the state proficient rates over the last 4 years. And then we had some consistency as far as our numbers in enrollment and our demographic information and subgroups, that at least the data for those groups has been stable. Finally, when thinking of discussion questions, things that I would like to take to the members of my data team for us to try to figure out answers to, the first question was, how can we eliminate that achievement gap in ELA between the white and black students in third grade? Then, are there any changes that we can make to better meet the needs of our black student populations? Are we overlooking some of the cultural differences or the needs of those students? The next question I came up with is the Bookworms Initiative providing enough support to help improve the reading ELA scores? We have implemented this program over the last 2 years, and we have seen some good results, but is it enough to support those students and to help improve the scores? Also, how can we use the data available to us to improve the test scores? And then from there, where do we go? What's next? I think we need to analyze and discuss the data and information presented today, create an action plan to address the weaknesses, design follow-up needed to make sure the action plan is implemented, and continually monitor a variety of assessments to make sure that all students are making progress towards meeting the goal. And that is the end of my data overview. Thank you.